Good morning and welcome to the programme. We have a lot coming up in the programme this morning. You may remember that yesterday we went and we gave a little promotional material, I suppose, for the opening of the new Oncology unit over at University Hospital Waterford. We had the brilliant Paula Calvert on the programme previewing the opening. The ribbon cutting ceremony took place around 2 o'clock yesterday. In a few minutes, you're going to hear from a cancer patient and their relatives, and we'll be covering a lot of stuff within the programme this morning. So if you want to text in, please do 083 333 975. Text in already. I thought this was for the hospice unit. Am I wrong? The hospice unit is going to be on another level, and that hasn't opened yet. That's due to open in the new year. So firstly, yesterday, when I went along yesterday, we're up on the 5th floor. I spoke with Professor Fred Jackson, a retired consultant haematologist. He was the first in the region, consultant haematologist in the region. He came in for the event specially yesterday. And Jane Fleming was there, consultant palliative care physician, and Paula Calvert and many others. So here's the chat first with Professor Fred Jackson and Jane Fleming.
It is probably since 2000.
Wow, so we're talking nearly 20 years.
I would guess so. It's 2019 now. It probably is, isn't it?
Tell us about the dishwasher plans.
Oh, my goodness. Well, the ladies in the kitchen, weren't they? They were just washing the Delph or sending it down to the kitchen, and we wanted to have some way to clean it. We had a bit of a battle, I think, didn't we?
Yes, space was so limited. So in that time, you see, Fred Jackson, Seamus O'Reilly and myself were the 3 consultants around at the time, and the kitchen is tiny. And then we thought, could we get the room next door so that the kitchen staff would have a little bit more space? But that didn't get passed. The kitchen stayed the same size, but at least the equipment got improved. But, this is now so different. So everything grew from there, having like a proper ward with individual rooms. Like these are all 24 individual private rooms for everybody. So it's just so incredible.
How does it make you feel?
I was coming here now to share the joy.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
That's how it feels.
I think it's fantastic. We can go back over all the sort of negative things, trying to hold on to the little office to talk to relatives in and to talk to patients when that was going to be taken over. But really, people worked with us as long as we made a good case. And I was thinking last night, actually, we got support from folk on the health board. At that time, the South Eastern Health Board was very helpful, I think. They had a vision of where we were heading, and I think maybe that made it not easier, but it meant that we had people locally in the health board that we could talk to, and that they were supportive. And I think people generally had a vision. I know I felt the other day when I came in, I was thinking back to having arrived in 1992 and not having any beds. And gradually, 3 beds on Medical 3, and now look at this, it's fantastic.
See, what I like too, Fred, is that we have the palliative care ward and the oncology haematology in the same wing. So we're only up and down the stairs to each other, which is really nice. It makes transitioning between one and the other much more easy for patients as well.
Because people can underestimate distances, and a distance in a hospital can also become a psychological distance.
Oh yeah, and a barrier in as you say. So no, I think this is just great. It's actually hard to say how great it is.
That's right. It's a beautiful building. The views are phenomenal.
But the only thing I think we are missing now is a rooftop restaurant.
John, you're one of the porters here. John Wickham, what's nice about today?
Well, today, I suppose, if you think about it, is probably more so about the patient. The facility that you're offering here in Waterford, it's probably, from a patient's point, an state of the art. And I think a great tribute has to go to the people who've worked together with the politicians, the whole lot. But it is a facility that has been long awaited in Waterford. And there is other facilities, I'm sure, that's there, but especially this one to people who needs this facility.
Like, we're up on the 5th floor, lovely view, nice building, nice air. It's great for the staff as well working here.
Well, to describe this here, it's only my first day as being the porter sent up here today. But as you arrive here, as I came up the lift, one of the patients were coming here with me, and they just said to come into an environment with an open space and so bright, it reminds them of something that they have in the back of their mind, but just to be able to share this kind of an environment makes them feel very good.
Brian, what's the surname?
Brian Creedon.
And what position do you have here?
I'm a palliative care consultant here.
What does this mean for you today?
Well, I think it's great for the people of Waterford and also the South East that we've got a world-class facility in terms of somewhere where we can treat patients, we can give them the dignity and the care that they deserve and need, and that we have 24 single rooms on this complex. We've got ensuite bathrooms. This will allow their family members to stay overnight, that they're not intruding in other patients' care. We can see that the views from here are actually astounding. You realise how flat Waterford is and that you can see right across the city. I think aesthetically, I've always said for patients being able to keep contact with nature, to see the seasons outside. And also I think for staff as well, not most importantly, but for staff to have somewhere that's a good work environment is conducive to them working to a very high standard. But most importantly for patients and families, that they can have the dignity and care that they need to have.
Like, we're up here on the 5th floor. We can see across the city, as you say.
Yes.
It's, I think, the tallest building in Waterford. Close enough to it.
Okay, that's probably not saying a lot, but I'm sure it is.
I know. But just this idea that people may underestimate the value of this.
Yeah, I think it's been a very long development, and I suppose I'm sure times a lot of the public didn't believe it was going to happen, and I must admit I haven't been involved for 10 years with it. I doubt it myself. I've met 4 ministers for health, but it's here. But I do think you're right, that idea, and we don't put enough value or capital in the aesthetics of buildings and how they interact with the environment behind, particularly for those in the building as well as those for outside looking at them. And I think it's very important. If you're in a hospital ward looking for fluorescent lights and all you're looking at is a concrete or tarmac, that's not ideal. Whereabouts here, as you say, you can see into people's back gardens, you can see trees, you can see nature, and you have a sense of light. You're not aware that it feels like a hotel. You're not aware that you're in a hospital environment, and that's how it should be. And I do believe that all those triggers like light and nature help centre people who have difficulty understanding when it's day or night. They all help. Natural cues, having big windows, having an aspect over the city will help.
Anybody working in the health service has different stresses and strains. Those that are working in oncology,
I personally believe that any aspect of healthcare is tough, and I think no more than other areas it can be very emotional. It's very touching. It's evocative. You see things. You see people remind you of your own family, friends, and in a way, I think part of healthcare is you're looking after the community, a community which you and your family and friends are members of as well. So it's very connected. Yes, it does take a lot from you, and I have an expression that the day that you see things that are emotional and upsetting and don't upset you is the day you need to take some time. So yes, it is, but perhaps that's one of the reasons we're motivated to work in the area. It's very real. We're looking after people and individuals in very vulnerable states, and we're trying to support them, and it could be any one of us or a community. So I think it's onus on all of us to ensure that we support people and care for people, and it's probably a true mark of a society that we can do that. And you see people every day in my work. I'm I'm constantly reminded by the power of humanity in a very, very positive way. So we see life at its very best, albeit in some very, very sad instances.
What happens if somebody doesn't want to be in a single room, wants to share a room?
We joke about it.
We had one patient saying that.
Yeah, you make a good point, because there are, while most of us, and I think it's accepted, the vast majority of people prefer single rooms, there are some people that like the social aspect of somebody else being there. People who've grown up in a busy household, who are used to, as I described in the old days, the pub was their living room, are used to having lots of people around. So that is an issue, but I suppose you have to weigh that up against the benefits for everybody, particularly infection control, dignity, having their own bathroom. But yeah, it is an issue. So what we have tried to do here, we have a lot of breakout areas, which there's one just here by the window, and there are areas where patients can congregate themselves with their family members or other patients and chat, that they don't have to stay in their rooms. Because nowadays, part of healthcare, as soon as you're well enough, we're encouraging people to get dressed in their outdoor clothes and to get up and get moving.
Adrian, I'm looking for a job here.
You're welcome to one now. Lovely setting.
How long are you working in this department?
I'm 22 years next year.
Wow. What does today mean for you?
It's really a big step forward. Ideally,
patients that we look after really should be in single rooms. So now we have the opportunity to do that. It'll really improve their care. Because a lot of the staff have been here for quite a number of years now, kind of developed their own techniques for kind of when they're off duty and kind of chilling out and relaxing and putting the day behind them. But I think it'll take a little bit of time for us to get used to nursing in kind of this a length of corridor and be it single rooms rather than bays. So it will take us a little bit of time as well, but you know, it's all a step forward.
I know a lot of the patients are very unwell, and it's been a traumatic day for them.
They all seem very pleased. The views, I think, is the one thing that they comment about. They have got lovely views now either side. It's much brighter, much lighter for them.
Thanks very much.
No problem.
What's your surname?
Krellin.
Thanks very much.
Oh, thanks, Stephen.
Miriam O'Connor is consultant medical oncologist. What are we looking at here? All over Waterford. We're really high up.
Yeah, this is a fantastic day for University Hospital Waterford and the Cancer Centre here in the southeast. We're up on the top floor of the new wing that we've been driving by looking at with nobody in for the last while, and now at last we've got patients in here. This is a significant development for the cancer unit here in the southeast. It's been hard fought for, long awaited, and there are people that moved in here today, and it's going to be super. It's the start of a new era for our centre. In the ground 2 floors is our hospice, which is ready to go, but it's not ready to open yet. But it will come, much like our building and our move-in today.
You're emotional?
I'm very emotional. I've been justifying to patients for years, and I still will be. Not everybody is over here. I still will be for why we can't provide single rooms for people and their families who are very ill and need that privacy and dignity. For those who have moved over here, it's wonderful today. But there are others who won't get the benefit of today, but it's coming, it's improvement, and we have to applaud every improvement.
Claire Tully, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Is it a happy day?
It's a great day here in University Hospital Waterford. It really is.
What will it mean for you as staff? Obviously, we've talked to different patients and different people. What does it mean for you as staff?
So for staff working here, first of all, they're just thrilled to have a much nicer environment to look after their patients in. And we have some really nice staff facilities here. We have a staff room, we have lockers available. And then when they're doing their procedures, the staff now have privacy and dignity with their own patients.
Now, in a minute, we are going to be talking to Sue Johnson and her sister, Michelle. Michelle Fletcher is terminally ill with cancer. Welcome back. So a few minutes ago, you heard from staff members working at the newly relocated oncology unit on the 5th floor of the new multi-million-euro Dunmore wing at University Hospital Waterford. It's mid-afternoon. The winter sun is shining. The sky is baby blue with only wispy clouds over the distant hills. I've asked management if any relatives of patients might like to talk quietly about what today means for them. Sue Johnson agrees to talk to me. She's a lovely lady from Bray who's here with her sister, Michelle Fletcher, who moved to Wexford a few years ago. Sue and myself talk in a small room beside where Michelle is for a few minutes. A few years ago, Michelle noticed a small melanoma on her ankle, and a few weeks ago, they got bad news. There's not much time left.
I'm here with my sister, Michelle Fletcher. So Paula Calvert is Michelle's consultant, and Michelle is terminally ill with cancer. So she was in Medical Unit 4 and she's moved here today. So we're delighted to see the new facilities here today.
What does it mean for you as a family member to be in a private room and to have the nice views?
Well, we were just discussing there about 4 weeks ago. We got some very bad news about Michelle, which was delivered to us in the ward, which was fine actually for us because we were in the conversation as a family, but was probably a bit uncomfortable for everybody else in the ward. So, and we've had several of those conversations, and the nurses and the doctors are unbelievable. So to have a bit of privacy in a room at a time that is extremely difficult not alone for the patients but also for the families is fantastic.
How old is your sister?
She's 52. She was 52 about a week ago, so far too young. But we're just making the most of the time we have left.
That time becomes more of a quality time when it's in a room and you're able to talk and share memories and laughter and everything.
Yeah, because obviously you want to try to make the most of the time that you have. So in a ward with 6 people, everybody has different teams coming to visit them, so there's a lot of hustle and bustle on a ward. So to get the chance to have some quiet time with the person, and you're also trying to discuss things that are possibly quite difficult to discuss. Michelle has children, so we need to think about that. And so to have a private room is absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
I asked Sue, would Michelle like to talk to me? She says she would. We go into her room. Michelle is lying on her bed in a bright, airy room. She's tubes, monitoring her condition. She's wearing pink. 5 family members are at her bedside. Special moments. Life is precious. Michelle wants to be positive.
It's really lovely. It's a vast difference to the last room I was in, and the main point I would say the difference it's going to make to patients is in the future if they get bad news and they have to share. I had to share my news with my children, and I did that with Paula very kindly, assisted my whole family with that. Well, I had to share the news with my whole family, you know, but I shared it with the adults first, and then I have an 18-year-old and a 14-year-old.
What's their names?
Ellen is 18, and she's just started working, studying in Trinity. She's doing a physical science degree. And Sarah is just turned 15 this weekend, and she's in junior cert.
What does Sarah want to be when she grows up?
She actually wants to be a hairdresser. We're doing specialising in colour, but I don't care what they do, just so long as they're happy in life, you know. So, and all kids find their way anyhow. So, but it was tough. Well, giving them the information is obviously very tough, and I think, as Sue said, it was easier for us when we were getting the news and discussing it. But it was the other people in the room as well having to listen to a very, very private conversation, you know. And the second thing, I think, is it'll give the nurses, who are they're phenomenal people, the oncology nurses. They're just the work they do is unbelievable. And they look after the patient and they look after the whole family so well, you know.
And what are this crowd like beside you now? Are they all right? They're not the worst, are they?
They're fantastic. They're great. And it's just like Eric's living in Estonia, and he's come over to see me, especially to see me on the back of bad news, but also they get snowed in there. So if something happens urgent, you know, it's going to be 2 or 3 days travel, isn't it? So, with the snow they get, you know. So, but the whole family have been fantastic, and my situation is it's a day-by-day basis.
We're looking out here at the blue sky and the wisps of clouds.
Absolutely gorgeous. I said when they moved us in this morning, I said, if you never have felt the urge to pick up a paintbrush to capture the kind of the heathery colours in the sky and stuff, and I'm not artistic at all.
That
so for me to be saying this is something else. I'm not artistic at all. To look out at that, it's just the best view ever. It's fantastic.
To have family and friends around.
Family and friends, and space to have family and friends around, you know. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant. So
one day at a time.
That's it. That's all you can do is one day at a time. So, and I hope, you know, I've had the last kind of 4 or 5 days have been really good. The last weekend was kind of a disaster. I just I was getting distressed in myself last weekend, which of course upsets the whole system. Then trying to get comfortable in bed can be a bit palaver, you know. So every day has its little challenge, you know.
Any favourite TV programmes? I'm a Celebrity now.
I haven't actually. One of my side effects has been double vision.
The sight.
So which kind of came out of nowhere. So I haven't been watching TV and even reading texts and stuff. So when someone comes in like Sue or my daughters or whenever anyone comes in that can help, I get them to read through my texts and reply to them.
I'll let you go. God bless.
You're very good. Thank you very much.
Michelle, thank you very much for letting me and our listeners to your bedside and to hear your story. And I know there's a lot of family members that are very proud of you, just how you're doing. And mind yourself. You've got great family and friends around you there. I want to thank the family as well. I want to thank Sue and all the other relatives for letting me in to have a little chat with Michelle. And for anybody involved in that unit, up on the oncology unit, whether it's relatives, patients, staff members, I don't know how you do it. Fair play to you, and keep up the great work. Now, welcome back to the programme, and thanks for all the lovely texts about the report there yesterday. Damien, I have the privilege to know Adrian Crellin outside of the hospital. Adrian was interviewed, one of the people I interviewed. He is in a brilliant profession and he is a brilliant nurse. Damien, it's a good thing that that ward is open. I just want to cry. There, my father died when he was 56, left two young boys behind. Life can be very hard. And anybody that is suffering from cancer or has cancer and recovering from cancer, and family and friends over Christmas, the very best of luck. Now, Mark Phillips, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks very much for joining us.
No problem.
You are WLR's racing correspondent. Big story. 4 of Ireland's 16 licensed greyhound tracks are to close after an independent review of the future of the greyhound industry has been published. Tell us first about this review. Who composed the review?
Yeah, it was done by Indicon, who were consultants. They were commissioned by the Irish Greyhound Board to do this, I suppose, about 12 months ago, and it's taken nearly 12 months to complete. I read the whole thing last night. It's 95 pages long. So they basically went in and looked at every track and looked at infrastructure, access, car parking space, etc., etc. Looked at other stadiums in the region as well. So like we would be compared to, we'd say, Welsh Park, to the RSC, places like that. And at the end of the day, attendances obviously would have a big bearing on it as well. Also catchment area. And Waterford is a huge catchment area now, whereas you've other places like Youghal. I think there was only something like 50,000 people within a radius of maybe 10 or 15, 20 miles. So they came back out and they've said that the Indicon have recommended that the likes of Enniscorthy, Lifford, Longford and Youghal should close, that they're loss making, they don't see a future for them, and that the board need to restructure everything and move on with the other tracks, and then possibly in 2022, if there's not an improvement, 3 more tracks should go. Thankfully Waterford has come out of it reasonably well. Yeah, so in terms of the criteria, the Greyhound track in Waterford has a lovely restaurant. Yeah, when you look at Kilcorn Park compared to the other facilities in Waterford, we have a 200-seater restaurant. We've got 3 bars, 1 downstairs, 2 upstairs, all indoors. We've got a fast food. So the facilities are fantastic. Because there's no other stadiums have that. No, not in Waterford anyway. Welsh Park doesn't have that. No. The RSC, up to a point, it's a lovely stadium, lovely pitch and everything down there, 2 nice stands, but that's where it ends. It doesn't have a restaurant that can seat 200 people. Yeah. And enjoy the racing from inside. Last Saturday night was a horrendous night there with the wind and rain, but we had a packed restaurant. Obviously it's the Christmas party nights at the moment, so where would you get that else in Waterford? You just enjoy the racing outside. You had the racing coming in live from Shelbourne Park in Dublin as well. You have people coming down to your table from the tote saying, would you like to do a few bets or whatever. Now it's not all about betting. It's not all about betting. It's a social night out, and that's what we should be focusing on. That consultant's report was commissioned and started before the RTE Primetime Investigates documentary. That came out 6 months ago now, is it 7 months ago? Yeah. And we were talking to you at the time. That's right. How much damage has that done? Huge damage. Huge damage because, we would have had benefit nights every night of the week in Kilcorn Park, and most Saturday nights. GA clubs, especially soccer clubs, and it's only lately they've actually started to come back to us. So we lost all them at the time, and you couldn't blame people. You saw something on television, it was given plenty of airtime, and it looked very bad. I don't want to say too much about it at the moment because that's gone before the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland. There's huge complaints gone in about it. I think, as far as I know, there will be court cases pending as well. So look, hopefully we will come out on the right side of that, but in the interim, yes, huge damage has been done.
Because, as you say, it showed lots of stuff that would have been on the face of it, and if people didn't know that we spoke to greyhound trainers that do great work with their dogs and all that, and yet there was this horrendous and horrible stuff that was shown.
It looked terrible. It looked terrible.
Yeah. So it's very difficult for an industry and for an association representing an industry to come back from that. Has the Greyhound Board done enough to try and get the PR back on side, or what do you do after something like that?
Yeah, well, I suppose they have. I suppose what's come to the top at this stage is welfare of greyhounds as such. They were probably a little bit behind the ball on that particular one, and I think that's what's happening as well. The money that they save from, like, they would have had to allocate something like €200,000 or €300,000 a year to those particular 4 tracks for prize money. That won't be going there now. It will actually be going into homes for greyhounds that are finished racing and that. And so they're going to, I suppose, redirect the funding more into welfare of greyhounds. And that's a good thing. They should have done it maybe years ago. Why wait until such something comes up on RTE
to do that? You see, yeah. So it's taken this to force and to cajole the Greyhound Board.
You see, the Greyhound Board, it's a government body.
Yeah.
Look, you saw what happened this week with the FAI. They're given money every year, and you just wonder, do they appreciate the money they're being given? And it's until something happens, like the FAI. I mean, I thought the IGB were bad, but when I saw the FAI this week, I took a little bit of a heart out of it, you know what I mean?
Are the Greyhound Board, are they making losses?
They are.
To what extent?
I don't know. They're very slow to share figures with you. Like for example, in Waterford, where we went to the SCIS meetings on a Thursday morning, that was a big plus for us. If we hadn't gone down that route and raced on Fridays and Saturday nights, our losses would be a lot higher.
That's television
rights,
for the Chinese markets. And
nobody goes to the meeting except, we say, the 60 owners. You might get 10 or 20 of the lads, like a few bets with the bookmakers. I'm there, the racing manager is there, but it's going to all over the world. It's gone very, very well because SIS, the company Sports Information Systems, they operate the whole thing worldwide. They don't tell us what countries it's gone to, how much money they're making, but look, it's paying for itself. It's a self-financing meeting, and that has helped. But the Irish Greyhound Board, I suppose, is still living in the past to an extent. Like, they have this a shared services kind of centre or a call centre in Thurles, and they take the bookings for all the restaurants. Yet we're only open one night a week now for restaurants. I suppose the average attendance in the restaurants off peak, we'll say, not outside of Christmas, maybe would be 70 to 80 people, which is nice. If every restaurant in Waterford could get 70 or 80 people in every Saturday night, I think they'd be quite pleased. But the problem is, like, do you need a call centre in Thurles to take that for all the different tracks? There's 4 less tracks now to worry about. I'd be saying no. Like, I don't know how much the call centre charges Waterford. Figures have been bandied around 20, 30,000 a year, but that would be a huge saving because there's somebody in the track from 9 to 5 every day.
Is there open disclosure on the accounts of the Greyhound
Board?
No,
they might give you the bottom line, but if you ask for figures, they're very, very slow to give them to you. I think they need to involve people at local level an awful lot more. Like, I'm in greyhound racing. I'd be ashamed to say how many years at this stage, Damien. But I'd never be asked for my opinion on different things. And it's a bit disheartening at times. I think the board, okay, they've made the decision now to close the 4 tracks. I suppose the question is, what are they going to do in the Irish Greyhound Board to ensure that racing thrives going forward? I think they need to look at things like accountability within the industry. They need to look at team working. I worked for Bosch & Lomb for 28 years, and I suppose I'd be conditioned to a lot of those things: accountability, team working, communications. They were always big things. But I think there's a lack of that in the Irish Greyhound Board. There was a report done on the board a number of years ago, and it was highlighted that there was a skills gap there. I think most people outside of the head office and everything think that skills gap is still there. I'd be looking at paying people basic salaries in the sales and marketing, but rewarding them generously on results.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Performance related.
Yeah, but like, there's this thing of a government type thing. You collect your cheque at the end of every month. Do you know what I mean?
Inertia can set in, and I remember covering the story with John O'Donoghue, the former TD down in Kerry, and he was spending money to beat the band. And the phrase came up, it's very easy to spend other people's money.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking about that, and it's always stuck with me as years go ahead. And you think of the FAI,
you
think of RT sometimes, you think of the Greyhound board, like
the HSE.
Like we have people coming in, texting in every now and then. We do stories about different things, and people will say, yeah, the government gives 25 million or so many millions to the Greyhound board every year, and whatever about animal welfare matters. Is it not a business that should at least be trying to stand on its own
2 feet,
4 feet?
Yeah. The thing is, Jim Power, the economist from Kilmac, he did a report on the industry about 3 or 4 years ago, and he was able to say that the industry provides 12,000 jobs nationwide. That's a lot of jobs, Damien. So, okay, we get 16 million a year, but the return in, PRSI, PAY, all that sort of stuff is greater than that. So it is, you can't just say there is a value there, but it could be an awful lot more.
Is the Greyhound track in Kilcohen making money?
Probably not. It's probably breaking even on a Thursday morning.
Does that issue an annual report, or does that go through the Greyhound board?
That goes through the Greyhound board. I don't know what costs go in there. I know that the call centre cost, that's only one of the costs. Like our current sales and marketing manager, Carl Pallas, he's trying to cover 2 tracks at the moment. He covers Cork and Waterford. I'm asking the question, is half his salary being charged to Cork track? I don't know. They won't tell me. So I think they need to open up an awful lot more. They need to do, they've shut the 4 tracks now. I'd love to come back to you in 3 months' time, Damien, at the end of March, say the end of quarter 1, have Ger Dollard on from the Irish Greyhound Board, the CEO, and myself here, and see what progress has been made in those 3 months. What have they done to turn around the tracks?
A couple of people texting in about it being a cruel industry, about all the thousands of greyhounds that can be affected. And tell me, is there a future for greyhound racing in Ireland?
Absolutely, yes, if it's run properly. There's a huge goodwill of support there for it. The owners, I feel sorry for the lads in Enniscorthy. They're losing their track. Youall is losing its track. They've done an awful lot of work in those particular areas, but they're small country towns as such. Youall is supposed to be a little bit bigger. Maybe it's not than Enniscorthy, but they seem to concentrate more on the cities like Waterford, Galway, Tralee, Limerick, Dublin and that. So there is a huge future, whether I'll be around to see it or not, Damon, but huge changes have to take place.
And how do you respond to people saying it's a cruel industry?
Look, stop.
But some of that cruelty was shown.
Yes, and a lot of it,
program,
but
if it's been
has anybody any proof that any greyhound owner or trainer in Waterford has been cruel to greyhounds? And if they have, they should report to the guards and they should report to the Irish Coursing Club. I doubt very much if they'll come up with any names.
Mark, thanks very much.
Thanks, Damien.
We'll talk to you in 2 or 3 months' time.
Great.
See how things are going and see if we can find out any of the figures in the Greyhound board accounts.
Lovely. Thanks,
Mark
Damien.
Phillips, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Send in your texts and comments 083 333 975, or you can call Audrey on 051 846 123, and we're going to have our competition in a few seconds. Now, welcome back to the programme. In a second, we're going to be talking about the issue of, I suppose, where we are with the council and the rates. A big meeting took place last night in Boxworks. Michael Garland is on the line. We're also going to be talking about Wear Red to Work Day. And in a little while, we're going to be talking about people that want to come back to Waterford to work. There's a new jobs.ie survey out, so we'll be talking about that. If you have any comments or views on that, please let us know. Some texts in about the greyhound industry. I will come to that shortly in a second. Firstly, if you want to win in our Mulligan's Christmas cracker competition, we're giving away a perfect gift from Mulligan's every day. So all you have to do is text in 083 333 975, or you can call Audrey on 051 846 123. Mulligan's Christmas cracker. Text in. You'll be in with a chance to win one of the prizes. And Mulligan's Blue Club, you can earn and spend points in store and online. mulliganspharmacy.com if you want as well. And treat your loved ones to all they want and need in Mulligan's Pharmacy. They're there for 60 years. Firstly, we're going to go to Michael Garland. Michael, good morning.
Morning, Damien. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Michael, you had a big meeting last night in Boxworks. Boxworks is a place, a space for start-up companies to develop, and it's in Waterford City Centre. And you started there, and you chaired a meeting with 14 councillors, and how many other people were in it?
Well, we had 15 actually. I miscounted. So we had 15 of our councillors and 2 of our TDs attending. About 40 businesses come along, and it was a meeting that we instigated, obviously, vis-a-vis the rates issue and the up-and-coming budget deadline day, which is this Thursday. And what we wanted to do was invite councillors and reps to come along and actually hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak, on the trading conditions in and around the city and then out into the county, and how difficult it is at the moment to actually generate income, and the need for a zero rates increase this year and next year until the economy actually picks up.
OK, and Regina Mangan is here. She was at the meeting last night. I'll be talking to you a second, Regina. Yeah. Why did you organise the meeting, Michael? Because councillors are having their own meetings. They know the situation regarding rates. People have been talking to them beforehand. Are you basically a lobby group on behalf of businesses that don't want to be hit by rates increases, whereas you want to say let the poor people take the cuts?
No, it's not like that at all. The people there are all small, medium enterprises who attended last night, similar to Regina, who spoke at the meeting as well. And no, the simple fact of the matter is, and I've said to you before, trading conditions are tough in the city. There's a deficit of 1.3 million in the rates this year. In a bigger picture, that's only 1% of the council's overall €132 million budget, and that should be easier to find than putting extra money onto businesses at the moment that don't actually need it. The city needs to move forward collectively. The meeting was arranged on that basis to allow people. And it was and Regina will tell you, it was a very honest, open, robust meeting, and everyone voiced their opinions, everyone listened, everyone had an opportunity that wanted to speak. And hopefully those councillors have gone away. They can see the need for a zero rates increase. If the pact, i.e. the Alliance, who I hope will be able on Thursday to deliver a zero rates increase budget, I'm pretty sure that Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael both have zero rate budgets. And we were basically saying, guys, get together. As we've done, we've pulled everyone together, have a look at this in the cold light of day and work together to deliver this zero rate budget this year and the next year. OK,
Michael, thanks for joining us this morning. We'll talk to you again soon, OK?
Thank you, Damien. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michael. Regina Mangan, you were at the meeting last night. Again, the same thing. If, like a lot of businesses, nobody's disputing the fact that a lot of businesses cannot take a rates increase. So what would you be saying to the councillors? What did you say last night?
Good morning, Damien and listeners. Well, in 6 years, my own rates went up by 50%.
You're with Liberty Blue?
Liberty Blue Estate Agency, yes. So on Parnell.
Went that how much?
50%.
50%.
So somebody said to me that couldn't be the case. Maybe you've moved to bigger premises. No, I'm in the same premises. But then somebody else said, actually, you didn't get a rates increase, you got a rates revaluation. Now, on my profit and loss account, or when I'm doing my figures at the end of the year, I can't call it that. It's a rate increase. So you can call it what you like. I think the 5% or whatever percent is the rocky road to a percentage increase this year, a percentage increase next year. Also, I'd love to know what's happening with uncollected rates. And second of all, we've apparently, I don't actually have the figures on me this morning because I didn't come in to talk about this, but I'm glad I can comment. There's a lot of housing rents outstanding as well. So what's the due diligence around that, and what are the council doing in order to look at their overall budgets? Because running my own small business, like, we're all employing people, so it's a house of cards.
We had John Paul Phelan, the Minister of State, in the other day. He said that the average for Waterford at the minute for rate collection is 80%. The national average will be 88%. So if they could collect that other 8%...
That's a contradiction to another figure I heard last week. So they're not consistent with what they're saying.
What are the councillors telling you in terms of how much rent is outstanding from council tenants?
I don't have that on me, Damien. Sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't expect to talk about it.
No,
I wish I did know. But it's
something that's out there.
Well, we run management companies. When people don't pay their service fees, there is a course of action that you must take in terms of following suit. And why should the people who are paying be hit with more levies? And business can't afford it. Like, we genuinely can't. I even have a unit, part of my own building, that's empty that I can't rent. It is very, very difficult to rent commercial space in Waterford City right now.
You're doing the best you can in a difficult environment. So good that you've been recognised nationally. What did you win?
We won the Regional Excellence Awards at the KPMG Irish Property Awards at the Convention Centre in Dublin last week.
Congratulations.
And thanks. We were stunned. Our win was the shortlist. We didn't think we had a hope of winning. We were the proper outsiders, so we were very proud to represent Waterford, and we shouted up the stage on the stage, very proud. Thank you, Damien.
There's a really good thing happening this Saturday. Wear red to work day.
even Friday, a day earlier.
Sorry, Friday.
That's okay.
My brain is frazzled this week.
We've been doing it for well over 10 years, Damien. It's a special morning that we really look forward to, and I think it's very important to go back to what is Christmas all about. And, you know, to me, it's about doing something in our community and giving a little bit back and having fun at the same time. So from 10 until 12, we have our coffee morning. We're Red to Work, and the funds, the WLR appeal money goes to St Vincent de Paul. And we have the Upton sisters playing music, Mary Grimes with her beautiful cakes, and Fintan Stanley is a regular contributor, Java Republic, and we've great all crack. And last year we had Valerie, the beautiful soprano singer, come in off the street for coffee. And
Valerie Leahy, is it?
Valerie Leahy, yes.
Yeah, I think she's doing a concert as well this weekend.
Oh, she's gifted. So it's a magical.
I had a piece on her last week.
And I'd just like to give a plug as well. I was at Rotary lunch yesterday and we had a speaker from Helping Hands. And I popped over to St Patrick's Gateway after the Boxworks meeting. And I felt very humble, to be honest. The ladies and gents there cooking in their own homes at night and bringing food in to the homeless. They're cooking and serving food Monday to Friday. And, like, it's extraordinary. I mean, it's great to win a prize. But to be honest, for someone to cook every night for homeless people who are less fortunate than ourselves, they're the real heroes in our community, and I'd like to give them a shout. And they do need gift boxes, shoe boxes dropped in, with razors and soap and different things, if you can imagine, and sanitary towels for the ladies in the shoe boxes for people who are without a home and on the streets. And I think it is this time of the year to think of those of us who are less well off, and I would like to say a very happy Christmas to everybody.
Very well said. Clem Jacob are also hosting a Wear Red to Work Day on Friday. We'll be doing it as well here in the Broadcast Centre. We're actually broadcasting with our St Vincent de Paul outside broadcast unit down at the shop on the Cork Road on Friday, so we'll all be wearing red as well. And it's just one of those things just to get into the Christmas spirit and just to, as you say, give something back to the community.
Very important, and they're our heroes, all the people working voluntary, doing good for our community.
It's something that's been going for years, and it's something that has there's still a need there, no matter how good places can be, and it's just that combination of businesses and people working together, isn't it?
I think it's an amazing thing in Waterford and in Ireland, in fairness, that the amount of voluntary groups that are out there that keep, I suppose, these wonderful causes alive. Even I go back to like St Vincent de Paul, everybody working voluntary there, and in terms of Helping Hands, they don't get any government funding whatsoever. It's extraordinary. It really, really is.
Regina Mangan, happy Christmas to you and yours and everybody
in
the company, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Great, thank you.
And good luck
Damon.
on Friday.